Is Chris Paul as clutch as his statistics say he is? Because if you look at his season so far, he has scored more points in clutch minutes than any other player in the league. He's also played more than any of the players that are in the top 10, which means that OKC has been in some games coming down to the wire of late, but they've also come back from 26 down, recently from 18 down against the Boston Celtics, and his true shooting percentage has been about 67% in clutch minutes, which is another way of saying he's gotten icier as the game has gone on, even at the age of nearly 35 years old. Are you buying that Chris Paul is putting together one of the greatest clutch seasons in NBA history? Or is it just the way that the system is built around him?
I think it's the way the team is built because you don't have any other alphas on that team. You've got close to that with Steven Adams is the most unassuming alpha or big man in the league. I mean, he does his thing. He goes about his business. Chris Paul, I did not think this was going to work. I really didn't. With this thing, the way it's going and the way it's working, it's been awesome. Schroeder has been a great complementary piece. This young team is performing unbelievably, but it's going back to the Chris Paul question you just asked. I think with no other alphas and him being the alpha, he works much better because he's the epitome of does not play well with others that are kind of like himself. So, no, I think it's a great season. I think it is a clutch season. I do believe the stats. I do believe the hype with it. I give credit where it's due. I'm not just going to hate on the man because I haven't enjoyed him over his career, but what he's done in Oklahoma City this season and how they brought those younger guys along, it's probably one of the best seasons I've seen in quite some time in the league. To be honest with you, I've enjoyed it. I'm still enjoying it. I think they have an opportunity to win at least one round in the playoffs. Who knows what happens if they get hot because they got a bunch of young guys that believe. I mean, you know how young guys are. They just go and play and have fun. Not many cares in the world, and they perform. So we'll see. But no, I'm believing it. I mean, I think Chris Paul, I got to give him his credit. He's done a great job.
I would add that their crunch time lineup of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Danilo Gallinari, Chris Paul, Dennis Schroeder, and of course Steven Adams has been lethal. Like they have been absolutely outstanding as a group. But I think that we're all going to be looking at first round exit, pulling off, going good season, fellas. I threw all those stats together, one, to show that I'm doing the work to the folks that are listening, because I know you know that I do the work, but also because they're really remarkable. And they're particularly remarkable for a guy that is really one of the slowest players in the NBA. Like, he does take his time. His game has gotten so much more old man as he's gotten older, and that's been fun to see because what I see from Chris Paul is not unlike what you said. I don't put it in an alpha category, right? I think of an alpha dude as LeBron. I'm just going to take this game over. I'm not losing today. I'm going to grimace in your direction. I see him, no disrespect to Chris Paul, he's dad. He's dad in a pickup game. I mean, he's not grimacing at the other team. He's grimacing at his players. He's telling Shai and Dennis, pick it up. Let's go. Play some D this time. You know, he's barking at them. Or he's the guy that's sticking up for his head coach. I have not seen a veteran player on a max contract stick up for a head coach in such a public way like I saw Chris Paul. I love telling this story. I believe they're playing Utah, but I'm going to have to check this because the tape is out there and I just need to go find it. But I vividly remember Chris Paul sitting on the bench, Billy Donovan getting berated because we all got our conniptions from years past with Billy Donovan, and we can see the lead is dwindling in the fourth quarter. To which a fan heckles Billy saying, put CP3 back in, put CP3 back in. To which Chris Paul gets up, turn around, says, look at the scoreboard.
Yeah.
I love that story because then that's Chris Paul doing exactly what's not going on in Brooklyn right now. That's him saying, no, this is my coach. This is my guy. The rest of y'all can have a seat. We're fine. And it turns out they are. They got the 40 wins before the Houston friggin' Rockets. And we not only had that OKC team left for dead, we had that Rockets team as contending. No, I'm with you. I
No,
like it.
I agree with what you're saying as far as him sticking up for the coach and everything. But I'm also going to say this. I think the man's smart enough to know he's at the point of his career that if he wants to keep that max money, he needs to make sure he does what he needs to do. He's not going to screw his money up. And I think he's doing a good job with that as well. But I don't know. There's something to be said about you think about this, RJ. These guys, they roll in these crazy towns. They got crazy lives. Houston, LA, Philly, Atlanta, and now all of a sudden you find yourself in Oklahoma City. And contrary to what most people that live down there believe, it's not quite the hopping metropolis that they want to make it out to be. You're up there a little bit. You got a family. Things slow down. You're on a good basketball team. Things are good. There's a lot to be said about that when you're riding your career out.